Howdy ho kiddos, and welcome to your review over the 3 branches of government. Today we did a circuit with it, and so I'm going to just kind of be doing a brief overview of the need to know. Here's the most important thing. For the most part, when we take notes, what matters to me is that you have seen the information, especially things like how long does a senator serve for? 6 years, how old does he have to be? 30 years old, things like that, they're good to know. However, it doesn't help me know how much you know if I ask you on a quiz or a test, exactly how many days old does the president have to be? I'm looking for you to know in general what each branch does, in general, all that information, because what I care about is that you know how our government operates. We're going to be working with 3 branches of government, so I'm using 3 different colors. The first color I'm going to use is green for Congress. Congress, now I want you to think for a minute, which branch is this? Which branch is it that is Congress? If you said legislative, you are correct. Now the reason I made Congress green is because the legislative branch makes laws, which means they can create tax laws. A lot of times if you hear in the news about this new bill is being passed and it's going to have something to do with taxes, when they're talking about a bill being passed, that's really referring to Congress. Congress is about to pass a bill that does that. Congress is about to pass a bill that's going to create this law. It's most important for you to know that Congress makes laws. Now, 2 more things that are important is that it's made up of 2 houses. House of Representatives and I always want to cut off this word because it always seems so long. House of Representatives. Representatives be reppin'. I'm going to say representatives. This is such a long word. Be reppin'. I can shorten this one. Representatives be reppin'. Representatives be reppin' basically just means that the House of Representatives is based on population. Secondly, we have the Senate. The Senate comes about as a result of smaller states wanting equal representation. Every state has 2 senators. Think for a minute. Use your critical thinking skills about how many senators do we have in this country. And if you can't remember how many states there are, remember the old adage, 50 nifty United States. Whoa! 50? That's a nifty number, that 50. There are 50 states, 2 senators per state. That would lead to 100 senators. There's 100 senators. Okay, so the most important thing for you to know in this place is Congress. Now, there's one more thing. And I'm going to use a different color for this because it is important, but I want you to think of it kind of in a different way. I'm going to make sure this writes and you can see it. I don't really like the way that writes. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to write with this purple because it's fun. Is the elastic clause. The elastic clause. The elastic clause, and this is a rubber band, or it's supposed to be, but it's not exactly looking very elasticy, so if you kind of want to make it more like this, I don't know if your rubber bands ever looked like this. This is like a hair rubber band, and this is like the kind of rubber band that you put around posters. Just an idea. The elastic clause says that the legislative branch, their powers, legislative branch powers can stretch when it is, and here's the important part, necessary and proper. And all of a sudden I'm looking at necessary and I'm not entirely sure if I spelled it right. So please look it up for me, and if I spelled it wrong and you can prove it to me, I will give you Bengal stripes tomorrow. The necessary and proper clause. Their powers can stretch when it is necessary and proper. Now, as it just so happens, I'm wearing a rubber band, which means this is what Congress's power is usually like. However, if it is necessary if we're in a war, if there's something we really need to pass, their powers can expand and stretch. Okay, here's what it usually looks like. Their powers can expand. This is elastic. If you ever wear stretch pants, elastic waistbands, they're heaven. That's what we use for small children so that their clothes fit them longer. Okay, so yay, elastic cloth. Next. And guys, remember, legislative branch, we always have the most information about just because it's the bigger branch. Now, I'm going to tilt this, so if you want to take a picture of this or if you want to write this down, write it down, pause the video and write it down right now. But I'm just going to turn the page. Next, we're going to hit up the executive branch. Now, the executive branch, I'm going to make red. Executive branch. Now, this is why I'm making it red, and here's why, okay? Because the executive branch, which is made up of, I'm going to tell you what's made up of, the president, the vice president or the VP, and his cabinet. Now, when I say cabinet, I'm not saying that there is some mysterious cabinet that the president, that holds some mysterious power, and it's like the Indian in the cupboard sort of situation. It's not that. His cabinet is a group of advisors. It's people that he kind of like opens his door to and says, hey, I have a question about this. Or like, I'm not going to say like his magic mirror. It's not like he says, cabinet on the wall. What is the best idea of all? But they do supervise him. They give him help. They give him advice. So it's the president, the vice president, and his cabinet. Now, the president has the power to veto. And that is an example of checks and balances. Guys, and this is, it's important for you to know the president serves a 4-year term. Now, contrary to popular belief, in the original makeup of our Constitution, there was no limit to how many terms a president could serve. George Washington served 2, and so from that point on, most presidents followed suit. However, we're going to learn later that there's one president who ends up serving 3 terms. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Important thing about the executive branch, the president, is also commander-in-chief. He's also head of the military. All right, commander, ooh, am I getting off the page here? Kind of. Commander-in-chief of U.S. military. And I'm sorry if I'm going off page. Commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. Again, it's red because he can veto things. He's basically the head of the military. You'll find that he's well respected among soldiers. Have to do what he says. He is in charge. He's in charge of the military. He's kind of an important guy. He has power to veto laws. He can also appoint Supreme Court justices. I'm going to call it SC justices. Since he can appoint Supreme Court justices, the only time he can do this is when it's either a Supreme Court justice retires, which usually happens, or if they die, because remember, you serve on the Supreme Court for life, which we're about to talk about now. So take a picture of this, or look at the picture down below. Pause it if you need to. And ready? 1, 2, 3. So since they're all going different ways, I'm going to write judicial upside down. Because judicial turns the whole thing on its head. The judicial branch. The judicial branch, their job, if Congress makes the laws, an executive, we didn't write this down, executive enforces. So another reason that it's red is the enforcer enforces laws. I said that kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're welcome, world. The judicial branch. The judicial branch is yellow because I kind of feel like they're the guiding moral light. They're the guiding compass. Their job is to interpret the laws. Now, if they are interpreting laws, that means that if there's a law that has been passed, they can deem it unconstitutional. Can deem, and deem is to make laws unconstitutional. Okay, and you may be asking yourself, what does unconstitutional mean, Ms. Puckett? It is a law that does not abide by the Constitution. Perhaps it limits the rights of its people. It takes away liberties. The idea of the separate but equal is separate but equal the same thing when we're looking at civil rights movements. This idea of laws being deemed unconstitutional is a really big deal. That's an ugly word to throw around. If you ever listen to politics and they're talking about something being unconstitutional, you'll hear like a collective gasp, no, not unconstitutional. Because I feel like when people say unconstitutional, they usually mean it goes against everything that people believe in. So their job is to deem laws unconstitutional. They serve for a lifetime, which is, I feel like, is fairly impressive. They also preside over impeachment trials. I left impeachment to this because it's a justice thing. Preside over impeachment. Basically, to be impeached is just to be accused. When the president is accused of something, he is being impeached. Congress, the House of Representatives can accuse him of being impeached, which is right here. The Senate holds the trial. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides over the impeachment trial. We have never had a president removed from office because they were impeached, but both Jackson and Clinton were impeached. They are both accused of something unlawful. The Judicial Branch also, they settle disputes between states. They settle disputes involving the U.S. They're our primary court. They're the big guns. If you ever hear a case go to the Supreme Court, that's a big deal. Those are all the big court cases you hear about. Other than that, kind of take a look at this. Take a look at your notes if yours turn around and are all cool like mine. Yay for you! You have such a pretty writing. Okay, well, I'll be taking pictures of my document camera with this. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Later, skater. And I feel like I need to do something here because I feel like it's kind of my sign-off thing. Ah! Spiders crawling up your back. Break the egg. See it washing down. Okay. Talk to y'all folks later.